this is Jill Ciminillo with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and yeah, this is not a pickup truck. We have something actually, I think, really interesting this week, and this is a Porsche electric crossover. I know, not our typical stuff, but before you roll your eyes at me, and I know some of you are, stick with me, because this is a really cool vehicle, and even if you never intend to buy one, you need to know about it. And so in this video, what I want to do is I just want to do a quick walk around. I'm going to show you some of the exterior features, I'm going to show you the interior, and we're going to talk about some of the really cool features that I love on this vehicle. But the first thing I want to do is say the name. So I don't know how you say it. Taycan, Toucan, Taken. I think somebody was like, is it taken? I'm like, no, it's not taken, although I would love to take it. The actual pronunciation is Taycan. So it's like Thai convention. Somebody very smart at Porsche told me that one. So, Taycan. So easy pronunciation for a really cool car, and as you can see, we've gone off-road a little bit because this is the Cross Turismo version, so has a little bit higher ride height, and it has some off-road capability, including a gravel mode. So you're not really going to take this heavy off-road, but you can take it moderately off-road to come out and enjoy nature. And by the way, you can't see it, but there's a lovely little stream over there that we are definitely enjoying. So a lot of performance, all electric, a little bit of capability, and all cool. So let's take a closer look at the Porsche Taycan, see, I'm going to say it wrong, Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo right now. All right, so here we are. The first thing I want to do is just do a little bit of a walk around of the Taycan, and you will notice this definitely has some Porsche signature to it. So you've got the signature headlights with the 4 points. You've got really a very typical Porsche nose. And okay, by the way, I'm trying not to trip as I come down this hill. I got the car over it, but I will likely fall on my butt. But what you're going to see over here, so first off, because I have the key in my pocket, the vehicle recognized the key and it unlocked the vehicle because it's like, hey, maybe you want to drive. But this has a little bit of an elongated shape here. You have the rear spoiler, and then you have this design feature here, which is now rolling out into all of the Porsches, and that is basically the red light that will run all the way across the rear. So I think this looks really good. I'm gonna get a little bit of a close-up here because I think this is pretty cool too. When I saw it at the auto show for the first time, it looks very electrified. So I don't know, I love that feature. I think it looks really good. So that is going to be the exterior. I don't have the exact ground clearance numbers. Oop, I must have stepped far enough away from the vehicle that it's like, wait, I thought you were gonna drive. This is basically the exterior of the vehicle, and I don't know, so it's not going to be a big crossover like the Cayenne, but it is maybe more of a wagon, and for a lot of people this is going to be right sized. Before we go inside, I'm going to show you one of the cool features that I really like, and that is going to be the kick activated liftgate. And so a lot of them will have you come up and then you have to like sweep your leg underneath, but this you just literally kick under and the trunk opens nice and wide, nice and high. And the great thing about it is the kick zone is going to be like anywhere along here. So if I kick there, it'll open, kick there, it'll open, kick there, it'll open. And for somebody who's on the short side of things like I am and may not be able to reach that button, I can do a little kick close. So again, wide kick zone. I started out on the left side, ended up on the right side, and the vehicle still understood that I wanted it to close. So that's going to be one of the cool things there. And actually, you know what? One more cool thing before we go inside, and again, trying not to fall on my butt, is going to be the Frunk. So a lot of electric vehicles don't have a Frunk, and I find that weird because, by the way, you don't have an engine, so what are you doing with this space? So Porsche has a Frunk, and it's about 2.9 cubic feet and of cargo volume. But here's how you open it. It's not a kick activation, but it's basically like you're petting the vehicle and, and it pops open. And similar to a hood, you do have a little latch here that you have to press to get it all the way open. So this is the Frunk space, and yes, I have climbed in it. Yes, I do in fact fit, and yes, you probably could in fact shut it with me in there, but it's not recommended. However, if that happens, I will point out there is a little emergency release button, but what Porsche has been using this for is basically putting the charge cord in here. What else is going on here? So you do have your washer fluid accessible right here, but that's about it. So you have a decent sized frunk for a briefcase, bag, groceries, a full Ciminillo, but not if you're going to shut it. As we get ready to go inside, I just want to take a closer look at this key. People always ask me what the keys look like for the vehicles that I'm driving, and yep, this is it. What I really like about this one is it's almost like a little model Taycan, especially when you look at it from the top down. It has the little, you know, flared fenders and, you know, the curvy middle bit. So I love the way the key looks, but here's something that's really cool. Basically, this right here, this logo, you can see there's a little light outline on it, and that will show you that the key is talking to the car. So as we are approaching the vehicle, it will start to kind of blink and light up because the key is talking to the car. And it basically says, oh, you're coming in, hi. And it opens the door handles, which were flush. And it basically just then allows you to enter the vehicle. Once you sit in the seat and you shut your door, the vehicle's on. So you don't need to do anything except get in the vehicle for it to start up. So, all right, what have we got going on here? Yeah, we have the radio on, so we're gonna shut that off so you can't hear it and we don't get dinged. But we've got a digital cluster back here. And what I really like about it is it's a curved glass cluster, and it really keeps in mind the traditional Porsche, you know, 3-space cluster. So even though it's digital, it still has a little bit of the traditional behind it. And you can adjust each of these modules a little bit. So there's a button on the steering wheel, and you press that, and it will take you through the different areas. And once something is highlighted in yellow, then you use this and you can scroll through a couple of things that you can select to put in here. And I've been keeping it on assistance programs because we've been doing a lot of highway driving. But let's say I want to see traffic signs, you can put that right there. But again, different options for what you want to see. Then if you move it to the center, I really like having the map in the center. And you can do the extended map, so it makes it bigger and puts it there. And so what I really like about that is you can have the map there, and then you can put your audio here and you still see where you're going. So I love the customizability. Yep, I'm making that a word if it's not. The customizability of the clusters and the digital display. So you can see what you want here and you can still deal with your audio there. So extended map, you can do the reduced map, or you can do, I guess reduced, maybe not map, but reduced, so it's just basically your speed and everything else goes away. And power meter, or I just, like I said, really like to have the map in the center. And then when you move it over to this final area here, you can look at your navigation, your trip, or your audio information, or just your information. So again, just kind of depends on what you want to look at here. So that is that display. Then you have this center stack with basically a 2-screen situation. Now this is going to be your information, and you have your home button that allows you to either see your menu items, or, you know, this home screen here, you can edit it by hitting these 3 dots, and so you can configure your My Screen and you can change what is in each of these things. And so you've got options over here on what you can put in each of those things. And for our sake, because we're kind of scrolling through the drive modes today, to test it, we have the drive mode item there, then your music, and then the map navigation. But you could put your trip information there. You could put your drive information, ambient lighting, any of those things. And basically what you do is you grab it and then you can select where you would like it to go. So I like also the fact that this is really configurable as well. The one thing that I want to say about this is primarily for your climate controls, but if you hit this, it'll show your map there. It's kind of logical. You know, it puts your music, it puts your, your phone, and it puts your settings up here. So pretty logical in terms of those items. But then this is just going to be your climate controls. And I find this to be slightly ironic because this screen heats up in the sun. And so I found during our drive, this was kind of hot to touch because it's in the full sun. So I don't know that that was the best idea there, but heads up on that. Maybe there needs to be a cooling pad or something under there. However, one of the things that Porsche did really well is the location of the charger, the phone charger. So they have a wireless phone charger in here, and it's literally, you just clip your phone in right there and it will charge your phone and keeps it out of your hand. So if you have your phone paired wirelessly, then you can just control everything through here. And I like that it basically removes the temptation to mess with your phone. Overall, the interior of the Taycan is very simple and very minimalist, and I really like that. So we're riding in a caravan today, so I have a little walkie-talkie, and yeah, cinnamon dolce latte today. So actually, while we're looking at this, I do want to say I like these cup holders. I like the position of the cup holders, and it makes it easy to reach, and the fact that it has the little plastic prongs means it holds your cup in here. If you are turning, you don't have to worry about anything flying anywhere. It'll fit a multitude of sizes of beverages, and I think it'll even hold my big water bottle. As many of you know, that is often a point of contention for me, and I don't think it's too small. I think it will hold that bottle. I also really like this floating console. So if you weren't charging your phone, you could set it down here. You can also put your car keys in here. It's a nice little storage space for something small, and it keeps it out of the way, but still within easy reach. One of the coolest things that I discovered while I was driving this is on the HVAC. So first off, you can have your heated and cooled seats on at the same time. Kind of confused by that, but intrigued at the same time. But one of the things that they've done is they have a diffuse mode in here. And so if you go into the HVAC menu, and I turned it on because, by the way, this is really cool. Instead of blowing the air right in your face, which I hate air blowing on my face, this diffuse mode basically just pushes the air, as you can see, up and around, so you still cool the cabin without getting the air completely blown on you. And yeah, I really like that. Because this is a crossover type vehicle, I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about the back seat, so let's climb back there and check it out. First glance, this kind of looks a little bit cramped. This seat is mostly adjusted for my driving position. That was for my passenger, so that's a little bit further back. And you might think that the legroom is a little bit off, but all right, so let's climb back here for a second. And Porsche has done a couple of things to make this a little bit more comfortable for taller drivers. Now, okay, you're not going to put a 6 foot tall person back here probably who's going to be super comfortable, but if you will look at the shape of the seat, so even though the seat kind of comes back, it has this scoop. So it creates some extra knee room for your taller passengers. And behind me, okay, maybe that's not a fair assessment. Let's come over here. We'll come behind the passenger seat because that's going to be more of a fair assessment. And I still have about 6 inches between my knee and the back of the seat. Now the seat is hard, so if your knee is pressed up against it, that's not going to be super comfortable, but I think this will accommodate a lot of people. Now, the other thing that they've done, and this is really interesting, so I'm about 5 feet tall, and I have probably about an inch between the bottom of my shoe and the bottom of the floor, because they basically moved some of the battery components up and out of this footwell area, and they put it underneath the seat so that they could drop the footwell about 3 to 4 inches. So that means somebody who's on the taller side of things isn't going to be having their knees pushed up off the seat. They have a little bit more room, and they'll have a better hip point because the floor is dropped a little bit, and you have some solid room to put your feet under here. So even though you might think it's a little bit cramped back here, I think they did a really good job of maximizing the space to allow for comfort of a wider size of passengers. So, you know, somebody who's about my size, the size of a 10-year-old, is going to be comfortable back here, but somebody a little bit taller, I mean, maybe 6 feet tall, is also going to be comfortable. So I'm just going to actually do a little selfie thing here. So I just want to point out, like, there is a lot of room between my head and this panoramic moonroof. So they have done an excellent job of trying to accommodate taller as well as smaller drivers. And yeah, but outside of that, there's not really a lot going on back here. You do have your air vents, but you don't have USB A or C charging ports, and you don't have the window shades or really much of anything else going on back here. Bose audio system, though, it's part of the premium package. This has it. But yeah, okay, so you do have also armrest cup holders with prongy things as well, but yeah, that's about it. All right, we are now ready for that final cool thing. And in case you missed it, I'm not at a gas station. This is an Electrify America station, and it is a charging station. Now, we have driven about 189 miles today, and I still have about 58 miles of range on this vehicle. And if you can do math and you paid attention earlier in the video, you know that that does not add up to 215. It actually is further than 215 miles, which is the range that the EPA says this vehicle can get. And you know that I do not drive like a saint, so I've been pushing it a little bit. I've been driving above 70 miles per hour, and I still have a lot more range than 215 miles. So that's pretty cool, but that's not the cool thing. The cool thing is how this vehicle is going to charge. So I'm actually going to flip the camera around, and I'm going to introduce you to Calvin Kim, who is the product spokesperson for the Taycan, and he's going to show us how this actually charges, and that is the cool thing. This is really complicated on charging, right?
It can be, but the idea here is to make getting electricity from here into here as easy as possible. The old way was using an app, swiping your card to pay whatever, and that's great. And you know, honestly, that's a pretty reliable system. It's how people buy gas, right? But there's better, and that's kind of what we're trying to do with plug and charge. And with plug and charge, the idea here is you just simply pick up the handle, plug it in, and the car and the kiosk, they communicate all the billing information directly without you having to intervene. And it's supposed to make it a seamless way to bill, and that way you just plug in and walk away. There's some stores here, you go shopping, there's some restaurants you can go eat. So 15-20 minutes later, you come back out, unplug, and you're back on your way.
So you literally did nothing. We pulled into this space, and we're just gonna plug it in.
We're just gonna plug it in.
Okay. Very reflective out here. I hope this comes through at least a little bit, but right here it says payment authorized. It was saying connecting to the vehicle, and now it's initiating the charging. So this is a part of the charging plan for the Porsche Taycan. For 3 years you can get unlimited 30-minute sessions. And as you can see, we're at about 25%. we now have 62 miles of range, and so we started out with 58 miles, so this is actually moving fairly quickly. And to be honest with you, we did not need to charge to get back to where we needed to go. We just wanted to check it out. So if we wanted to get all the way up to 100%, it would be charged at 6:03, which right now it is 4:58, so that would be just a little more than an hour to get all the way to 100%, but most times they recommend that you get to 80%, and that should happen within 20 minutes. Before we close this out, I just wanted to take another look at this screen, and there's a couple of things that are going on here. And first off is you can see the percentage is increasing as it gets more range, and so is the miles. This right here is telling you what kilowatts are coming into the car. So this is a 150 kilowatt charger, but we're receiving the power in 139 kilowatts. So it's not quite at max capacity. But here's the really cool thing. If you press that, it tells you how many miles you're getting per minute. So we're getting 6 miles per minute. If you had just had a goal of getting home, and you were 12 miles away or whatever, you could do the math, charge for a couple minutes, go home. But I love the multiplicity of ways that you're getting information here to understand how much charge you're getting, how long it's going to take, and basically what you need to get to your next destination. It is time for me to wrap up this review. And if I had to summarize the Porsche Taycan, I would say it is a fun to drive crossover that also happens to be an EV. I know this probably isn't a lot of your cup of tea, but this is a really cool vehicle. From the seats that can be heated and cooled at the same time, to the customizability, to the fast charge capability. I think all of that is really good, and if this is the direction that electric vehicles are heading, sign me up. Yep, that's it. That's all I've got for this week. So thanks for watching. Be sure to check us out on the web at pickuptrucktalk.com, and I will see you down the road.